Nesiim, and the author of the Nesiim was told you can't say the Kaddish. Kaddish are only people that have no parents. It was surprising to me because generally the Nesiim, Kaddish should be said by the Messiah. Then we had a shayla after a shir. Someone decided they wanted to say Kaddish. People said, "What are you doing? Don't change minig." As if there's something wrong with saying Kaddish after learning. Then we had a shayla. Most recently it was after laining. And as typically, Balkari don't say Kaddish, and the other came along and basically hijacked the Kaddish. He said it, he says Kaddish Yosef. And I felt it's important to go through the sugya of the Kaddish that's said in davening. In other words, the Kaddish Yosef, that's a whole different sugya for itself. But basically, the Kaddish that's said in the davening, whether it's the Kaddish before Psud Zimra, the Kaddish the end of davening, after learning, by Yisiyam, after laining. And the truth is, think about it, a very big part of our davening is a Kaddish. In a, quote, simple maariv, of this Hasfar, there are actually 4 kadish. A small maariv and 4 kadish. Mincha is 3 kadish. So we really should spend time on understanding what the Kaddish is and what the purpose and who says it. The most obvious source for Kaddish is the Gemara in Shabbos at Kulfiyotes. The Gemara makes a very powerful statement. The Torah in Simon Nuntov quotes the Zoya that adds Gzar Dinai Shel Shivim Shana. A lifetime of tzaras is wiped away with 1 Yehei Rabbah. Obviously, it's not just a few simple words, it's very powerful words. I remember very vividly, Padre saying very Shadek, I'll say why. It was January 14, 1991. It was Erev the Gulf War, and there were terrible threats against Eretz Yisrael, the world. This madman, Saddam Hussein, Machshamite, was going to destroy the world. Gun Segel, the Aramaic came to America to get chizuk, and he spoke here in this place, Kaddish. And he says, we're facing a very, very terrible shasara, but I have a wonderful eitzah, a solution guaranteed for our problems. Let's say Yehei Rabbah with Kavana, B'chol Koychai. And some people were disappointed. They thought they say some type of mystical, spooky skula, but that's the strongest skula. Koyr like Zardina, Shivim Shan, the Gemara and the Zoya both say that. But there's a second source that gives a little more historical insight. In Brachas Daf Gimel, when Yidden come into Shul and they say Yehei Shmoy HaGadol L'Vayrach, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Mananei Roshai, V'omer Ashi HaMelech Sh'mekalsa Noisai, Ma'aloi La'ov Shehikla Esbonav, Oilam L'Bonim She'Godol Mal Shulchan Avim. In other words, as we'll soon see, the Kaddish, or specifically Yehei Rabbah, was instituted our response for the Churban. After we lost the Churban, there was so much Chil Shem Shemayim, Yidden had to say Yehei Rabbah to supplement that missing Kvod Shemayim. And this explains why we find such unusual schach. You know, we daven for our health and for Panasa. Shouldn't we daven all more so for the Bnei Shalom's Kvod Shemayim in this world of Chil Shem Shemayim? That's why the Gemara in Shabbos says, if someone said Yehei Rabbah besides Gzar Din, Hoischel Eishari Gan Eden, and even if he has a way to Zohar Moichlan Loi, the Mishnah Berurah in Nun Vav Aleph quotes a frightening lashon, Kama Alafim Gemolim Te'unin Af V'chema, thousands of donkeys loaded with punishment are reserved for someone that talks during Kaddish. The Rav Shulchan Aruch and also Nun Vav Aleph says a person that doesn't say Yehei Rabbah properly is in a nidui for 40 days. Obviously, if we do so much, we have to make sure to take advantage of this Yehei Rabbah. So we have 2 sources in Shas regarding Kaddish. The third is probably most striking. The Gemara in Soita Daf Mem Tes speaks about the horrible state of the world that we're in. What the Lord say in Tafshin Pei. But the Gemara says, "B'chol yoyim meruba kolosim shel chaverei." The world is constantly descending deeper and deeper into the Shol Tachtiyos. And then I ask the question, so if that's the case, how does the world survive? On what? Amayim Mekayim, Alma Amayim Mekayim, how does the world continue to exist? So the Gemara says, one of the ways that the world has a kiyum, a Kadusha v'agarata, a Yehesh Merabah d'Agarata. The world continues to subside because of the Kaddish said after learning. And Rashi explains, because people came to shul every Shabbos to learn, even the working Yaaretz, and they learned. Then they said Kaddish, like a double superpower, Koyach HaTorah, Koyach Kvod Shemayim, and that's so chashuv that that's the Kiyam Ha'olam, which speaks volumes of what Kaddish is. That's the national security, that's the world's existence. And we also see the greatness of Kaddish. Kaddish is Kvod Shemayim. And that's why, it's interesting, the Chayodim in the beginning of Tefla, and Aruch HaShulchan, in the beginning of Simon Hazel, Maariv, and I'll quote his Lashon, Kaddish hu shevach gadol v'noira, she'tiknu anshe knesset ha'gedola, ach ha'churban bayis rishon. Historically, it was Mesugan, after the first Churban, a response to the Churban. Tefla al chilul shmo yisbarach v'churban beis hamikdash. So it seems, again, it was instituted after the first Churban Habayis by the Anshe Knesset HaGedolah. And indeed, you'll see, I found this in Masechta Sofrim in 4 places, the word Kaddish is mentioned in Masechta Sofrim as part of davening. Yud Zayin, Tezayin, Yud-Beis, Yud-Tes, Yud-Beis, and Chav. It was part of davening already in the times of the Tanoim. Now, of course, the way the Aruch HaShulchan says it, it's based on a pasuk. V'nigdashti b'soyach b'nei Yisrael. Now, Rabbi said, we all know that v'nigdashti b'soyach b'nei Yisrael is one of Taryag mitzvahs. A person that gives his life al Kiddush Hashem is mekayim this mitzvah deraisa. Zok b'yayim in the Siddur. When someone says Yehesh Merabah, he also is mekayim the deraisa of v'nigdashti b'soyach b'nei Yisrael. Because that's what it is. It's Kvod Shemayim b'Rabbi. The Arizal, quoted by the tzibur and Kuf Chafei Dal, also by the Rabbi of the Chavetz Chaim, and the Tova quotes this also. Says when a Yid says Kedusha, he's mekayim the mitzvah of Nigdashti b'Soyach b'nei Yisrael. So to me, it's pashut that according to the Arizal, if someone says Yehesh Merabah, he's mekayim the. How do I know? Because Mishnah in no less than 3 places, Simon Vav, Kuf Tes Dalet, and Kuf Chafei Ches, says that if a person has a choice, either to say Kedusha or Kaddish, let's say they're concurrent and you need only one or the other. So we're in 3 places, quoting Magen Avraham, Kaddish goes first. Aishmei Rabbi is more than Kedusha. So if we understand that by a regular Kedusha, there's a deraisa Nigdashti b'Soyach b'nei Yisrael, it's pashut, the same applies to the Yehesh Merabah. And time you see, even if Chas V'Shalom they shmuzl by Chutz Hashatz, when they hear the Kedusha, they jump up for a towel over their heads. Kedusha you have to stop for. No, Kaddish even more so. Kaddish is more v'chiyah than the Kedusha. And that's why the Shulchan writes in Nun Hei Beis, Yesh Lizor b'zeh ma'oid, la'anis b'kavona u'b'kol rom. The Mishnah early in Simon Chafei Sivkot Nun Vav is critical of those that fold up towels and tefillin during Kaddish. He said you can't enter the Kaddish. And he said don't forget that Kaddish is more chashuv than Kedusha. And the emphasis, that's why the poskim assume the minig is to say Kaddish like you say Shemona Esrei. You notice? We put our feet together, we step back 3 steps. You're not supposed to lean on the stem, you're supposed to stand just like Shemona Esrei. In fact, the Shari Tshuva in the beginning of Sin and Nun Vav quotes the Birkei Yosef, you're not allowed to walk in front of someone that's saying Kaddish. Just like you're not allowed to walk in front of someone that's saying Shemona Esrei, you can disturb him, so too regarding the Kaddish. The Magen Avraham and Simon Yud Ches Sivkot and Beis, Kevei Kuf Lamed Beis quotes this writes that it's proper when someone has to say Kaddish, let's say a bracha, aleinu comes in Yasam, should put on a talus before he says Kaddish. Now that's not the minute, but certainly when someone has to say Kaddish, you just say it with the right kavanah. He should not be folding up his talus as he's saying Kaddish if he's the one that's bringing the Kaddish into the tzibur. The Aruch HaShulchan says, Chas v'shom loim ha'kadish b'merutzo v'chipazoim, it will say, b'kavon u'bizboinenis litzdayer al golos ha'shchina ha'kadosha. And to my knowledge, there's no other place in Shulchan Aruch Mechaber writes the following lashon. It's the beginning of Simon Vav, l'shtadel loros k'dei l'shmoya Kaddish. Run, literally run to shul to make every last Kaddish. But the emphasis, historically, there seems to be an even earlier source for Yesh Rabbi. And listen how this has a beautiful impact on our sugya. The Gemara says in Pesachim Nun Vav, Yakov was worried that there was some problem with his children, but his children said very proudly, Shema Yisrael Hashem Aleinu Hashem Echad, don't worry. And Yakov responded, Baruch Shem Kavoi Machus Olam Voed. If you look at the Targum Yishalmi, Parsh Vaychi, Mem Tes Beis, the Targum teaches Baruch Shem, Amen Yehei Shmei Rabba Bavorach La'olmei Olmayim. In other words, Baruch Shem corresponds to Yehei Shmei Rabba. So if you want to really be accurate, who said the first Yehei Shmei Rabba in history? It goes all the way back to Yakov Avinu. Now it's interesting. The Gemara says, Yehi Shmoy HaGodol Mevayrech Lashon Kadish. Yaakov said it, Baruch Shem. So now we have a question. Why do we all say it in Aramaic? What's wrong with Yaakov's nusach? So this is Tais's question in Brachas Ab Gimel. And Tais, which is pretty weird, Masha Oimam HaOilam, the Welt says, there's a Torah Welt, that's the Welt. So the Welt says, because Yesh Rabbi is such a chashuv tefillah, the malachim will be jealous. So we have to disguise it in Aramaic. That's what Tais quotes the Welt. So up to Tais have a problem with this, because there are many other beautiful tefillahs that we say, and we're not scared. So Tais' shot is, since this is such an important kvod shamayim, it has to be user-friendly. In the times of the first bias, they spoke in Aramaic, and that was a language. So you can say Lashon HaKodesh, you will exclude many people. So to make it user-friendly, they say Yesh Rabbi in Aramaic. Comes again the Marsham, the Segoinis, in the Chelukei, in the Maftechos, the Simon Tes, he says, Achamashtikas offer Ragli Bali Atoisvis, I have to defend Minig Oilam, because he says Tikkun Oilam, and it's an Oilam border. And he says a beautiful cheshbon. There's something very challenging only with Yehei Shmei Rabba. Unlike other tefillahs. Why? Since Yehei Shmei Rabba originally was Baruch Shem, that we know from Hilchos Yom Kippur that the Malachim have a special envy of. They wanted only theirs. And we never say Baruch Shem out loud, except Yom Kippur. So that's what Tosfos means. It's not just any old tefillah. It's Baruch Shem that's exclusively the Malachim's domain. And that's Shad and Tosfos. So I was thinking that's why it's so meduyik what I said earlier, that the Yehei Shmei Rabba is supposed to replace the avoid in Beis HaMikdash. Because the Si'i, the peak, the zenith of the avoid was Baruch Shem. Just said the Kippur davening, when they heard it, they heard Shem Hashem, they fell on their face, they did Baruch Shem. We have to somehow recreate that. How do you recreate Baruch Shem? At least Amen Yehei Shmei Rabba. So basically we see it's a Shevach Godel V'Noira based on all the way back to Yaakov Avinu, and it's a tefillah of Kvod Shemayim. Now let's try to apply it as much as time allows. I think there should be enough time to go through the whole sugya. First and foremost, the main part of the Kaddish is Yehei Shmei Rabba, and that's why even if someone's holding the Berachas Krishna, he can't answer anything else. If you're Rabbi, he's supposed to answer. That's a tefillah, that's a deraisa, that's Kvod Shemayim. The Aruch HaShulchan in Nun Vav Ches is very unhappy with what we call Chatzi Kaddish. You know, we said Chatzi Kaddish before Baruch Hu, before Shemay Nesra. So it gives the implication like, yeah, it's not so important. You know, the Lord says, what do you do if you only have half a million? Just give I'll say Chatzi Kaddish. Like a joke, you know. So the Rav says, what are you talking about? It's not a Chatzi Kaddish. That's the full Kaddish. The full Kaddish, Yesh Merab. No of us, as we'll soon see, Chazal added when necessary. Kaddish the Rabbanon for a seal, the Skabel after Shemay Nesra. But it's not a half a Kaddish like a Halpazach, Chatzi Dava. The full Koyach is a Chatzi Kaddish. There's more when necessary. That's a very important appreciation that the full Kaddish essentially is Yesh Merab. Now, what is the breakup of the various Kaddishim? So, there are 4 different Kaddishim. Most obvious is the Kaddish Teskabel, which we always say after Shemay Nesra, Shachas, Musaf, Mincha, and maariv. The one exception is of the Levush in the beginning of Tafkuf Pei Aleph is you have the Slichas. Why? So the Levush, that's also a mini Shemay Nesra. You start with Ashray, then you have sort of Sukkah Dezimra, then you have the Gimel Midas like Shemay Nesra, Tachnun, Banachnun Meida, and then the Kaddish Teskabel. But basically, Teskabel is a tefillah on our tefillah. Teskabel to leisten the rules of the whole Beis Yisrael. But there is that pella, how literal the Kaddish Teskabel is not only after Shemay Nesra, but more accurately, it's part of Shemay Nesra. The Trubas Hadesh of the Rogies, the Gedolei HaPoiskim Achreinim, wonder, every Shemay Nesra you have to step back 3 steps. The Gemara says in Brachas, if you don't do it, better you don't daven. Where's the Gimel Psiyas of the shots? So the Trubas Hadesh, when he says Kaddish Teskabel and backs up, that goes back into Shemay Nesra. Because evidently, that's the end of Shemay Nesra. In fact, many Shluchei Tzibur Makbid, that when they sit down for Tachnun, they don't move to get it, go to sit somewhere else. They prepare a chair by the Amid. They don't want to move their feet until they say Kaddish Teskabel. Because that's the end of the Shemay Nesra. When God says the Shat should not talk until Teskabel. I mean, even though you shouldn't talk B'chlal, but certainly in between Shemay Nesra and Teskabel. And really, the Mishnah says he shouldn't walk around. Taka during laining, he has to go and bring the Sefer Torah to the Bima, but stay in one place, not walk around. You're still in the middle of Shemay Nesra. There's another type of Kaddish called Kaddish D'Rabbanan. Basically, very prominent source. That's the Yaarzeit. And as we'll soon see, many of the Kaddish in davening, for example, before Sukkah Dezimra is also a Kaddish D'Rabbanan. Why? What would you say there? You say Mishnayos, Sukkim. Kaddish Yosem is based on a story of Rabbi Akiva. Arzaruach Chelik Beis, and Nun quotes it. Oy Chazoim Lamoy will get back at a different time. But the Chatzi Kaddish, Zok Pri Megodim in Nun Hey Aleph, is always said when you have to divide between 2 parts of davening. Between Sukkah Dezimra and Berachas Krishna. After Shemay Nesra, before Ashray V'Otzion, before the Shemay Nesra of Mincha, before Shemay Nesra of maariv. Chatzi Kaddish is a division. It divides. And we'll soon see other examples. But these are the 4 Kaddishim: Chatzi Kaddish, Teskabel, D'Rabbanan, and Kaddish Yosem. But one thing has to be abundantly clear. Kaddish is not never someone lost his parent. So you have to say Kaddish, we have to answer. If it doesn't come one day, we have early dismissal. Baruch Hashem, we're out 3 minutes earlier. It's just the opposite. Most Kaddish have nothing to do with another. 3/4 have nothing to do with another. Even the Kaddish Yosem The davening means the Kaddish. The Yasa was chosen to say the Kaddish. But it's a very wrong attitude. The Kaddish is there for us. It's an opportunity of the recited of Dashki B'Soy B'nai Yisrael. Who says it? Tefla, Kaira, maybe the Yasam. But we'll soon see what the Rama says in 2 places. If there's no Yasam in Shul, let someone else say the Kaddish. Yidden need a Kaddish. The world needs a Kaddish. The world existence needs a Kaddish. And that's why it's interesting. The tzibur writes in Nun Hey Yud Beis, never leave before you finish with the Kaddish, answering the Kaddish. Because it's a chiyuv on the yachid. The aveil is the one that says it, but the chiyuv is on the yachid. But to me was a bigger kiddush. The halacha in Siman Pei Tes Siv Gimel says if someone has to eat before davening, he's very, very schwach. He can't wait for davening. So the halacha has his kiddush, let him daven b'yechidus, and then eat. But don't eat before davening. So daven b'yechidus and eat. But go to shul and answer Kaddish. So it's a pillar. The halacha part is in the tzibur. But he eats never part from answering Kaddish. Go to shul to hear the Kaddish. It's Yedua, Shem Dariya Kaddish, that the word tzaddik is Yid's daily obligation, his regimen. 90 amains, 4 kedusha, 10 yud kaddish, and kuf is 100 brachas. That's a Yid's healthy day, Hashem, the tzaddik. 90, 4, 10, and 100. What to me was the biggest chiddush, and you see, there's a big road out there. The Rabbi was the Ben Ish Chaim, his true was Beis Yadalit, because the minhag in his city that the aveil said all the Kaddish and davening. Because there were a lot of aveil, they wanted each one say their own. So the Kaddish between tzibur the Zimra and Yishtabach on all said Kaddish. That was the minhag. One day the Oval was late. He didn't say tzibur the Zimra yet. Or maybe he's in the middle of tzibur the Zimra. But he wasn't holding by Yishtabach. How could he say Kaddish if he's in the middle of tzibur the Zimra? There's a hefsek problem. He's not even holding it. Something, Rapal, no problem. He's not saying it for himself, even though he's a Yassim. He's saying it to Moitzid the tzibur. He's allowed to say it to Moitzid the tzibur, even not holding there, because they're chiyuv. It's not his chiyuv, it's their chiyuv. And once he's doing it for them, there's no problem of hefsek. So it's such an interesting way of, interesting is the wrong word, such a proper, correct way of looking at the Kaddish. The aveil, or the Yaarzeit is saying it to be moitzi us our chiyuv. And I told you earlier, what's more striking, the Ramah says it in Kuf Lamed Beis, in Archaim, and Shinai Vav, and Yeridea, if there's no aveil, let someone else say the Kaddish Yosem. Kaddish Yosem and the other Kaddishim must be said. That's why the Meister, we as a tzibur should cherish every Kaddish. I hope it's clear that the Kaddish has nothing to do with an aveil or misa. It's Kvod Shamayim. It's a very moving story. This goes back probably close to 180 years ago. In Gedolei Yisrael, the Bitzalach, Volozhin, the son of Rabbi Volozhin, the Tzemach Tzedek, and other Gedolei Yisrael had to travel to the Russian capital to see there was a very bad gzer against Eden, and they ended up, they had to be in the capital on Yom Kippur. They couldn't go back to daven, the tzibur, they had to be there. So they davened in a little small shul that basically was Cantonist, these Yiddish children that were taken away from their parents at a young age. They were soldiers, they were very rough, and not, b'nei Torah. And it came time for the Ne'ilah, and there was discussion, who's going to daven the Ne'ilah? They did Tzemach Tzedek, they did Volozhin. So one of the candidates said, no, we have a Baal Tefillah. Michael Titus. Very disappointed, who's in the daven. And one soldier got up, he looked all bruised and battered, and he made a speech. He says, well, I'm going to start saying the Ne'ilah. He says, you daven Sabani Chayim Zoyne, right? For me, I have no children, I'm the Tsar's army. Zoyne, I don't need, I don't have, whatever the Tsar gives me. Chaye, who wants to live? Tayyib Musi Michayev, with being in the Tsar's army. But we have only one Bakash in this base Medrash. Skadal Yiskada Shneira. That's where he started the Kaddish of the Elam. And then they knew why he's the Baal Tefillah, because he had it all straight, he had it all right. That's a Yiddish Bakosha, that's a Yid's goal, Yiskadal Yiskada Shneira. And that's really the thrust of the Kaddish, which is again for all of us to answer and to cherish. If so, it should come out that the regular Kaddish, a non-Yosem could say it. Kaddish after the Siyam, why can't a Bacha say it? Now it's true, the Ramah in Yeridei Shin I involved Dalit writes, there's a Gepeda for someone that has parents not to say Kaddish Yosem. But that's not Kaddish. Most of Kaddish is not Yosem. So Kaddish Yosem is reserved for aveil. But a regular Kaddish, what's the problem? And the truth is, the fact that it's called, the word Kaddish, you think Kaddish has something to do with the mace. Kaddish wasn't of Kedusha. Kiddush Shem Shemayim. And that's why you'll notice that the Kaddish has to be said. I'll give you an example. This hopefully should never happen. It's a very dangerous thing to do. But it sometimes happens. In the middle of Psud December, the Chazan looks around, it's very quiet. And he counts, there's no minion. Someone had to leave after Kedusha, the morning rush hour, he just left. He didn't bother counting. Now he has 9 people, there's no minion. So the halacha basically is based on a Trumas Hadeshen, in Simon Tesvav, and the Chabad Nun Hey Gimel quotes it, that you're allowed to finish that part of davening you started. If you started Chadas Hashatz, you're allowed to finish Chadas Hashatz. If the person left during the Shtilas Esra, then davening is over, early dismissal. But if once you started Beheta, you're allowed to finish Chadas Hashatz. Where do you go till? Zok Teshuvas Hadeshen, you could finish Chadas Hashatz, say Kaddish, Chatzi Kaddish, Ashri, and even say Kaddish Niskabel. Why? Russia. That's part of Kiddush Hashem. That's the Shmei Esra. That's the Shitasai of Teshuvas Hadeshen in Simon Yud Gimel. Kaddish Yosem, you can't say. That's part of aleinu. There's no shaykhs one to the other. So this we see that this Kaddish is part of the Shmei Esra. Now the next question is a little more challenging, because not much was written in earlier sources, and it's something to get a few times a week. Who says the Kaddish after laining? So I'll give you 3 choices. Typically the Baal Kaira. Sometimes the one that got the Shlishi or the Achraim, and typically he's a Chiyuv. And sometimes B'chlal, the aveil walks over and he basically, I don't say hijacks, he adopts the Kaddish. So if you think about it objectively, what type of Kaddish is it? It's not a Kaddish Yosef, it's a Chatzi Kaddish. So where does the aveil have rights to that Kaddish? He doesn't walk over before Baruch Hu and say the Kaddish. More so, we could speculate, why do you say Kaddish after laining? Which one of the Kaddish is it? I can tell you which one it is. It's a divider. We explained, now we're back to davening. And that would explain why it's a Chatzi Kaddish, like the Gadol says. So aveil an b'char shmei. But the emphasis, we see this, and especially during the week, someone has a Yaarzeit, or he'll buy the aliyis, and those who that sell the aliyis, and he wants to get his money worth. He says the Kaddish also. Is it an avla? Is it right? So for this, you have to really know why Taka is there a Kaddish after laining. We once discussed this when we spoke about the 2 or 3 Sifrei Torah. To make a long story short, the Rimigash, one of the daily Rishonim, Simon Pei Test, says it's to divide between the laining, Teiras Moshe, and the Haftarah, the Navi. So division needs a Kaddish. According to that reason, there is no Kaddish during the week. And Taka, the Rimigash himself says that. So that's a reason that's really not helpful to us, that our maybe do say Kaddish during the week. The second reason, Tais the Megillah, that Chav Gimel says, to divide the Shiva Kruyim, and the Maftir is not a Chiyuv. But again, that's only limited for Shabbos or Yom Tov. The main two reasons we can understand the Rekeach in Shin Yud Aleph and also Shin Samach Beis writes very powerful words. You know why you say Kaddish after laining? She'ein lecha kol tzibur u'diba she'b'toyram she'ein b'y shem ha'meforish she'ein ani yoidim lefikach tzarech lahakdish al oisei shem. Torah is so exceptionally powerful, it needs a Kaddish. I'm not saying it's Torah per se, but it's Kedusha Torah that's so overwhelming, needs a Kaddish. That's the story that the Rekeach writes in 3 different places. The Meiri, the Matzavitri, and the Prima Godam actually in Reish Pei Beis Yud Gimel says more simply, just like we say a Kaddish Rabbanon after learning, you learn Mishnah, you say a Kaddish. When you learn Torah Kedosha, say a Kaddish. So in other words, the Kaddish after laining is a Kaddish Rabbanon. Now the Prima Godam himself wonders, so why do we say a Rabbanon Kaddish? Why Chatzi Kaddish? So that's a Kaddish that he deals with. But it's a Kaddish on Torah, like a Kaddish Rabbanon. But even more simple, the Beis Yosef and Simon Lunay quotes the Odu, one of the Rishonim, that the Kaddish is said as a mafsik. Between davening and laining, we make a Kaddish. And therefore, basically, the two main reasons for Kaddish after laining is either to be mafsik or it's on Torah. If so, why does the aveil have any rights to it? And the emphasis, the Torah in Kuf Mem Tes assumes for double pashit that the Bal Koira says the Kaddish. Shlomo Kluga in the Seif HaChaim Simon Kuf Lam Tes has rayus from other poskim that it's only the Bal Koira that says the Kaddish after laining. I saw a beautiful tshuva in Maram Brisk in Simon Kuf Yud Ches. There was a city that made a takana that only the Bal Koira says Kaddish. Why? Because typically, now we see this also, the Chalei Shabbos came to shul when they had Yaarzeit. They got the Aliyah and they said Kaddish. It's totally inappropriate for a Friday person to say Kaddish. So to somehow get rid of that problem, they made a rule across the board, only Bal Koira says Kaddish. The aveil, the aveil, the Aliyah says, well, why do we have to lose? We lose the Kaddish. In other words, in that city, who said Kaddish? The aveil, the Yaarzeit. So he writes basically, you're making a mistake. The aveil has no claim to that Kaddish. True, the Ephraim said that the aveil would say the Kaddish, but it's a Kaddish on the Torah. And he brings rayas. And he says basically, we're not being goizel as ha-mesim. It's basically not the Kaddish Yosef. The Steichemed, in Mareches Aveilus, Ois Kuf Samach Gimel, quotes Magudas Ezoi that the Kaddish is for the Yosef, and he brings a raya from the Tanchit, Ayitcha, Zok Maram Brisk. It's not a raya, in fact he's right, you look in the Tanchit, it's not a raya at all. And therefore he says we're not depriving the aveil. Basically, the aveil has no claim to the Kaddish. Huk Chazigi concludes, the Roy Vakilis HaYishonois, Min Hageyim V'nuyis Al Yiseidois V'Mismoris V'Tuyim, Hashatz Oyma HaKaddish. So we're not changing anything, we're going back to what it always was. And this seems to be the shita of most poskim. The only point I would make is, I saw Rabbi Yankin and Emsli Yakov, Reish Pei Dalet, and Alecha Shleimish, and Rizal, and with Beis Chav Zayin. And this the Shar Ephraim also says, if the aveil or the Bal Yaarzeit gets the aliyah of Shlishi during the week or Achrei on Shabbos, then he has a claim to the Kaddish. Because it's a Kaddish is said on the end of laining. Now there are two mechutonim there, the Bal Koira, but in a certain sense the Oila has more rights to this aliyah. The Bal Koira is being moitziyim and laining. So that it seems all agree that the Bal Koira has the rights. If the Oila, then during the week Shlishi, Shabbos, Achrei, who's getting that aliyah, he also would say the Kaddish. And that's not why people that have Yaarzeit, they buy the aliyah, get the aliyah, and they say the Kaddish. But what's interesting to me, the Zalman and Dan Alicha Shleima says, but if someone else takes the Kaddish, the aveil, he's being goizel es ha-meser. Because that Kaddish after laining is said for the Mesi oil that don't have anybody saying Kaddish to them. And when I read that, I jumped back. You don't want to be a Kaddish, especially stealing from Mason. And especially the Hilchos, some Sefer once said, if someone says a Kaddish that doesn't belong to him, it's not a schus to his nifta. It goes to the person that's supposed to say the Kaddish. But where does Hashem get this from? That the Kaddish in the end of laining is for the Mesi, or don't have any people saying it. I looked into it. I found Rabbi and also said the same Yisai. The Kaddish after laining is for the Mesi, or don't have any people saying Kaddish. I can only speculate, who am I, that maybe the Cheshbon is Pashat. Because the fact is that it's a Kaddish on Torah. So why is it not a Kaddish Derabbanan? So maybe that's the one Kaddish Chazal instituted to give for those that have no one else. But once I heard that you might be stealing someone else's Kaddish, but the Zalman says, if you want to say, the person has Yaarzeit, he said the Kaddish, fine. Have everybody in mind, not just his parent. So that puts a sort of a spin into this question. No one wants to steal from Eisei Oil. But Maisa, I must mention, the Torah L'Shma, that's the Ben Ish Chaim, the Shuvas Tavcha pays, his feeling is that the one that gets maftir, he has the Kaddish. Not the Acharon, not the Baal Torah. He gives anybody he wants. And the Elaf Lamogin, that's the Pirish on the Matar Friday, says any aveil could take the Kaddish. And what to me was the biggest pella, in Orchis Rabbi with Gimel Reish Tezayin, he writes Shemati B'Shem Chazanish, which to me is not such a compelling source. Usually he heard the Chazanish, but he writes, I heard B'Shem Chazanish, that whoever cannot say Kaddish Yosayim should not say the Kaddish after laining. Just the opposite. That if you have parents, it doesn't belong to you. And the base of your Rabbi, Zuchaim Ravrach and Chelei Beis, Lamatzayin, the mincha and aleinu, he says, that if you have parents, you can't say Kaddish after laining. Which of course is not the mincha, but at least we can understand, I think the following should be stated. The Kaddish seems to be for the Baal Korah. The one that got the Aliyah also has rights. But for an aveil to take the Kaddish, according to most Paiskim, is Zayla. Again, I did see some that are Mekel, Avosman, Chelik Cheskov, Samach Gimel. He says the minig is that the Baal Korah is at the Kaddish. No, if someone does the opposite, the Shkeferlich. But it seems that the way to do it, either the Baal Korah or the one that got the Aliyah. Rather, someone told me when I started saying Kaddish, said if you want to be really good, learn how to lain, and then you can say another Kaddish. Which some people do rather. And then it's legit. But otherwise, the stam take the Kaddish is questionable. At least. The one Kaddish that we say after laining, that all agrees the Kaddish Yosayim, many people just have this, when we lain the Megillos. Pesach, Sukkot, we just lain Kehelas, Pesach, Shirim. Afterwards, the Kaddish Yosayim. Why not the Baal Korah? So I didn't find too much, but I said, Rebush in Tov Tzadik Sivhei, and I quote, V'oimer achra Kaddish Yosayim, K'moisha oimer achra kol psukim. You say Kaddish like you say after Torah. Doesn't really explain it. Why Taka only the Yosam, the Baal Korah not? But this seems to be the minute after the Megillah, the Kaddish Yosam. The next Kaddish, which really needs some attention, because it's something on a daily basis, and a lot of confusion. And that's the Kaddish Rabbanan. The Kaddish Rabbanan has a very prominent source. It's the Gemara inside. The Cheshbon, like we said, of our Torah is of our Torah. Ein Lacha Ois Achas Minan Torah, that doesn't have that tremendous power. Obviously we underestimate of our Torah. I just saw the Tanakh Al Yom. That's what Rabbanan heard Al Yom on Novi. And I quote, the end of Perek Gimel. Every mitzvah is their mitzvah. Al Torah or Ha Torah Meira Misoifa Oilam Ba'at Soifa Shenema in their mitzvah the Torah or. I can't explain it, what that means, but I do know that's a lot of lichtigkeit. Yisoifoi not soifoi. Something as powerful as Torah needs a Kaddish. That's the Kaddish D'Rabbanan. So we combine the two superpowers. Koyach of Torah, soifoi not soifoi. And appropriately afterwards, there's a Kaddish D'Rabbanan. Here I'll tell you something interesting. To show you how much there's a lack of knowledge. Someone told me he was in a shul, and the Bacha down for the Yomit, and he said Kaddish before Hayyu. He felt better, young Bacha said Yossi. Then he came to the end of davening, and like he said Kaddish after the Yom, Kaddish after aleinu, but Kaddish Yossi he didn't say. So he said, what kind of Bacha is this? He said, why did that develop as Kaddish? I didn't say anything to him, but he doesn't know that really, in Seichel, the Kaddish before Psud the Zimra, and the Kaddish after aleinu, and even the Yom, really not Kaddish Yosem. Primarily the two Rabbanon Kaddish after Psud the Zimra, and after aleinu, look, just look at it. It's Kaddish Rabbanon. Well, why should we tell you the novel? The Yom is up there with the Samsoit and the Gilad and Kuflam with Beis. The Yom is Torah. And therefore non-Yosem could say the Kaddish after the Yom. But this is why in some shuls, particularly Chassidish Shtiblach, certainly has that many, that there's always a Kaddish said by the tzibur after Karbonis, after Yom, after Enkelakenu, if it's an aveil, fine, if not, the tzibur says it typically, because it's a Kaddish Rabban, whether he has parents or not. And the truth is, look at it, especially the 2 out of the 3 are Kaddish Rabbanans. Why should it be limited to an aveil? Now, we're not learning the iyum, but there's learning, there's Torah. And that's why you'll see this minig. In fact, al pi ari, the Kaddish after Karbonis, before Psud the Zimra, is a chiyuv. I'm going to take words that Moshe is to. But until Haydu Zakariya Kaddish is Oyla Masiyah. Psud the Zimra is Yitzira, Revus Krishma is Bria, Shmanesra Tzilus, and in between every Oylam you need a Kaddish. And that's why the Munkachin, Dr. Chaim Sholem, the Shulchan Kaman, Shulchan Ator, and others say, especially the Kaddish before Psud the Zimra is an absolute must to keep the Oylam balanced. In fact, the Shulchan Ator, the Kaman says, if let's say there's no mini, so they started Haydu, and the mini came before Mizmor Shir, then don't say a Kaddish, because you're mixing up the Mishana the Oylamis. And Moshe did that, but I guess he did. You can't mix up Nasiya with Yitzira. The Hakasa Da'anya in Simon Ches, he says it's a minig buris, not to say Kaddish after the Yom, Peter Matoiris, and the Enkelakenu. He writes, Lidi Marli ala Pirtz ala Zu, Halacha Mefureshes, Oylamas Tluyim in this Kaddish. And indeed, this is the minig of many shuls. The Piskei Tshuva Yeridei Shin Ayin Vov David, on the Ramah that says a non-Yosem should not say Kaddish Yosem, Zot the Piskei Tshuva, but the Abishoy Evan Shoyam adds, but if it's not a Kaddish Yosem, a Kaddish D'Rabbanan, there's absolutely no hesitation for a non-Yosem to say the Kaddish. Just like by Yisiyam he says Kaddish, why not the D'Rabbanan Kaddish and David? The only Peda is the Kaddish Yosem. Now, this is why you'll see that many. And the truth is, it's even more puzzling. The fact he doesn't say Kaddish Yosem or aleinu is the biggest right out of Yosem. The fact that he's about to says the Kaddish is just indicating that he's saying it al shviyat tzibur. So what this person found surprising seems to be basic halacha. However, Paik Chazi, in most shuls, if the shviyat tzibur is not an aveil, he won't say those kadish. The question now is why not? Fakir. Now we're on the defensive, why not? So it seems to me, and that's what I found in the Heintiger place, but it's something that's really lacking, that in essence the Kaddish Rabbanan has nothing to do with an aveil. But since everybody agrees, and let's not get everybody agrees, that the aveil has first right to that Kaddish, either obviously he says it, or even if not, he says it. So it becomes associated with the Kaddish Yosef, even though it's not at all a Kaddish Yosef. Now, once you have any shaykhis to Misa, to titקבל satan, then people run away. Now, there's a certain taboo associated with these things. You know, the Ramah brings a tshuva, an earlier tshuva, Rishonim, that someone's wife died, and he told his son not to say Kaddish for his mother, for his own wife, and they had a shalom bayis. It wasn't a problem. Why? How can you say Kaddish? I'm still alive. So the Ramah says no, he has no right to override the mother's Kaddish. But absent that, the Ramah says a non-Yosem should not say Kaddish Yosem. It seems that's why it became associated with the Kaddish Yosem, even though it's not a Kaddish Yosem. And what to me was the biggest pillar, you see a sensitivity to Hainu Da'amri Inshi, the Zichron Yehuda, that was one of the Greenwood Mishpach, in the Sam Soifa, in the Tshuva Simonai Gimel, he says that it is no, if the Sheyotziv Kaddish Yosem, Rabbi had to say Kaddish, and his Rebbe Sam Soifa said Kaddish, even though he wasn't the novel, and his father, Sam Soifa did it, Avad Kaddish has to be said. Then he says, so why talk to many Jews, they don't say that Kaddish Rabbanan? So he says, Ma'isa, people are worried, and Reya Maslei, Chamir Sekanta Misura, and therefore to say Kaddish, the Shmartim Oil and Afshi Seichem. I'm talking about a complete change. No problem. Tzibur did it. You don't do it? Okay, watch for your life. So he says, why? Because people have this phobia, this fear, that Kaddish has to do with dying. They don't have any shaykhs. So he says the minig is unfounded, but if Chamir Sakanta Misura, people shy away from it, respect them. And this is what I saw in a number of the Heintige Poiskim, even though it makes no sense. The Kaddish D'Rabbanan is not a Kaddish Yosef. But the mere fact that people associate with Kaddish Yosef is not said by an non-Yosef. Now, that only eliminates one minig. That if a bacha who has parents davens to the Yom, he should not say the Kaddish before Psud the Zimra, or the Kaddish after Invalid came. But that does not mean that someone that has no parents who's davening in the tzibur, he could say the Kaddish. That's fine. No one has a problem with that. And he's not prolonging the davening pircha the tzibura. He's allowing us all to have the source of entering the kedusha. In other words, the objection would be for a non-Yosem to say Kaddish D'Rabbanan. But if someone wants to say Kaddish because he lost his parents a long time ago, or whatever the reason, for that, Avada is no problem. So it's basically some shuls, if there's nobody, no aveil davening, they'll just skip the Kaddish. Some shuls, even the bacha will say the Kaddish, and some shuls, some of the tzibur will say those Kaddish D'Rabbanan. What seems, again, a little more b'chiyuv is the Kaddish before Psucha the Zimra. According to Arizal, that's one of the Ikka Kadeshim that could be said and should be said in all circumstances. Question. Someone came, the aveil came a little late, and they already were about to start Kaddish before Psucha the Zimra. But Amaisa, he took the Amid, and he ran up to Kaddish. Someone asked him, what are you doing? You didn't say Karbonot, what are you saying Kaddish? You barely put 1,000 filler on it. Or, which is typically more common, unfortunately, when it comes time to Kaddish, there's no one ready. People are coming late, they barely have a minute. Only the Yaatzeit said Karbonot. And you then say Kaddish. Either the Yaatzeit didn't say Karbonot, or only the Yaatzeit said Karbonot. So till today you wonder, what's the Shayla? But now you understand what the Shayla is. He invited to Kaddish on learning, he didn't learn. Or no one else learned but him. Zok Taz in Nun Hey Gimel, Gaval Gechiddish. Since the Kaddish is said, V'nigdash bi b'soyach b'nei Yisrael, all you need is a minion of people to say Kaddish. Even if only the Shnei Tzibur said Karbonot, it makes no difference. You need a minion of people. But it's a pellet. Because the real chiyuv of Kaddish is not a minion, it's a minion of learners. And Talmud Magen Avraham in Samach Tes Dalit, and later Reish Lamed Dalet Aleph insists, and listen to this, you never say Kaddish to Rabbanan, whether it's in davening or learning or kashir, unless you have a minion of learners that learn. V'nigdashti b'soyach b'nei Yisrael is a minion of learning people requires the Kaddish. And this obviously is a very fundamental machlokes. Let's say you have a small oilam that learn Mishnayos, and then some type of Kaddish is a minion. According to Rabbi, you can't say Kaddish. According to us, you do. How do we paskin? So there's tzibur and then Gimel Yud Aleph paskins like the Magen Avraham. You need a minion of learning people to say Kaddish. In Nun Daled Tes, Mr. Tzibur again discusses this, and again he paskins like the Magen Avraham. But he does add, if you have a minion that learned, and the aveil comes late, he could say Kaddish. Because it's like Paris al Hashma, he's saying for the tzibur. They have a chiyuv Kaddish, he could say it. So that's one kula. That the aveil that did learn could say the Kaddish. But the plea is the next simon, Nun Hey Beis, the Tzibur quotes both days, the Taz and the Magen Avraham. And then he has the following Kaddish. The Kaddish said after Psuk the Zimmer, and the Kaddish before Shrein Esther of maariv, that you could say regardless. In other words, let's say they wanted to have maariv, no minion. So they just gave up. They gave self-service, they started davening yichidus. Boom, right before Shrein Esther, a minion came. You could say Kaddish regardless. Or there was no minion for Psuk the Zimmer, so they gave up. And they got the Psuk the Zimmer, they got the Kaddish the minion, then the Kaddish could be said no matter what. Why is that no matter what? I understood why. That's not a Kaddish on learning. That's a Kaddish as a mafsik. Why not? Now, the Maisa in Simon Nun Gimel, he does not hold like that. Just take a steer the two Mishnah. But one thing I will say, that to say Kaddish for learning, Mishnah in three places actually, seems to hold you have to have a minion of learners. But the good news is that we could say, if the aveil did not come to the shir, or did not come for Karbonus, he just comes to say he's Kaddish, as long as you have a minion of learners, that's Machayev the Kaddish, he could say the Kaddish. What's interesting, the Archashur in Nun Hey, Sif Hey, right? Yesh Liger, we should yell at the minig that someone wants to say Kaddish, so he just learns for himself and claps in the shul. Okay, everybody say Kaddish. To say Kaddish on your own learning, that has no shot. Because you have to have a minion of those learning. The Zichra and Yehud that I mentioned in Simon Chav Dalet, quotes the Ramshik that was very upset. You have to have a minion of learners saying the Kaddish. Now, rather the Magen Avraham, as I mentioned, the Taz, the Magen Avraham, as I mentioned, is quotes of Lechem Chamudas. If you have 2 or 3 learners, maybe you could also say Kaddish. But there should be a respectable amount of people that learn to Machayev the Kaddish. What really needs a hezbollah, Baruch Hashem, not in this base measures, but Baruch Hashem, there's so much learning going on, and after learning, people just go home. Why don't we see a Kaddish after every learning? This is not just a minig, a heintige minig. This is the minig quoted in the Gemara Saita, which is the world's existence. Now, someone told me, you're not going to be maariv b'kadesh. Well, wait a second. I know all about that. The word begins, Hilchos Kaddish, Simon and Hey. Kishem she'asa laharbais b'brachos, kach asa laharbais b'kadesh. There's an issa to say Kaddish unnecessarily. The Rosh writes about it, Tishtapechna ba'avnei kodesh, v'roishcha kol chutzos. You can't just say Kaddish. Someone told me that there's a fellow who always likes saying Kaddish. Someone told me, listen, I'm telling you, Allah likes being now allowed to say Kaddish. He goes, really? That's halachic? He goes, yes, good. He's got it straight out. You know, I'll do that. They have a minion. But there's no shaykh case because they have a share. So someone else told me, it's tircha the tzibur. It's also wrong. If the Gemara has to say Kaddish, it's not tircha the tzibur. The only question is, the Gemara's lashon is, you say Kaddish the Agadata. Agadata is drush, the Moshel Shabbos, Hagodol drush, Shabbos Shuba drush, like the real Rabbanim that would say Kaddish after the drush. The question is, halachic here, where's the Agadata? So this is the spheres Rambam, but make a long story short, the place can say after the halachic shir or the pilpul shir, if you say Rebbechaim ben Akashia, then you converted it into a Agadata, and then you say Kaddish l'chol days. And that's not why we see the belt many people have to learn to say Kaddish. Yeah, there's a Mishnah shir, Timin Chamayr, and then the Rav says Kaddish. He's not a novel, there's no shayach to aveil. It's not a Kaddish Yosem. Why don't we see this in some shuls? I can only speculate, maybe because the chiyuv is Kaddish on Agadata. You just gave a Mishnah Yeshia, Halacha Yeshia. There's no chiyuv to say B'chanim ben Akashia and convert it into Agadata. But to say that it's a tzibur or maariv kadish is wrong. This is one of the most prominent and most powerful kadish. If you don't have a minion by the shir, that's another reason not to say Kaddish. Another cheshbon that I have, I can share before maariv in a different shul. So we finish 9:30, and maariv is 9:30. To start saying Kaddish, then it is going to extend their maariv, they're going to push up their maariv, they're going to be late. I should say 2 minutes less of a shir, maybe Takas Nakadai, to trim the shir by 2 minutes, stay on the Kaddish, maybe that's another cheshbon. But let me just say 2 more points that I think are important. The Ramah in Kuf Lamed Beis, writes, you say Kaddish Yosem, and even if there's no Yosem in the shul, even if the tzibur is not a Yosem, make sure someone said that Kaddish. This Ramah is based on Maril and Simon Samach Dalit, that writes Chas v'chalila, that's the Lashon of the Maril. Chas v'chalila, to finish davening without a Kaddish Yosem by aleinu. A second place in Hilchos Aveilus, Shin Ayin Vav Dalit, the Ramah says, if the tzibur is not an aveil, let anybody in the tzibur that has no father or mother say the Kaddish Yosem after aleinu. And Taki, you see this. In some shuls, if the tzibur has parents, someone else says Kaddish. The Zichron Yehuda says this when he saw by his Rebbeim. The question is, why don't we see this in all shuls? Why do we see a Meir, Mincha, Shabbos? This ends. So I saw the Nishmas Yisrael, this is a beautiful cheshbon. The Ramah L'Shitasi Daven Nusach Ashkenaz. There wasn't a Kaddish the Rabbanon on Ein Kalakein, because there wasn't Ein Kalakein. But the Didan, Nusach Svar, there is already two Kadeshim, Nishkefelch. Rav Osman and Zayin Taka was asked by a tzibur of a Torah young alike that have parents. He said, make sure at least someone that has no parents should say the Kaddish Yosef. But certainly if someone wants to be Zakir the Rabbi and he has no parents, Chaparayim that Kaddish Yosef. And last but not least, it should be most simple. A Bacha or anybody that has parents that makes the Siyum, there's no reason he shouldn't say that Kaddish. It's a Kaddish the Rabban, has nothing to do with Yosef. In fact, in some shuls, the mitzvah was to sell that Kaddish to the one that paid for the Siyum, but it has nothing to do with the Kaddish Yosef per se. To me, what's a Chiddush was the Klisi L'Hav Rashman. The Zalman, the end of Paragraph, Avicha Shleimer writes that someone that has parents should not say the Kaddish by the Siyum, because you mentioned there, Achya Messiah, Chiyasa Mesa. Well, there's a Klisi L'Hav, and the mitzvah is not like that, so certainly let people learn, make Siyum and say Kaddish, and we can talk to you.
Amen. Aşry mal amud was der Bedanger tot mit dem sein. Da kommen da aus von Eis aus nach von Saal. Heil und heute und Rabbi Kinder befinden. Rabbi kein die kann sollte wie das gute mal Maro nimm nicht vorbei. Heil und Rabbi schmeißen kein Teufel. Allein und das soll nicht vorbei. Einmal wie wir nach wir schon eine so zwei eben nicht vorbei. Separate chair. We don't have to have people saying Ashray. What do you do? What do you do? You have to repeat it. You have to repeat it. Yeah, but it's a very common problem because people don't say Ashray until the end of the review say Kaddish. I don't say Kaddish because if you don't say Kaddish, you don't say Kaddish because I wait and at least the people say Kaddish. I'll tell them don't say Kaddish. So I'm going to wait. You also have to have people provide but we didn't what's about to say a whole lot of what? No, I'm saying on the whole Ashray, I say out loud. But if I say out the whole Ashray, I'm not and then I tell them, don't worry, I tell them, but they say I tell them. The Kaddish being stopped after the 5 hours, they say I should it was like you could, but the solid thing. Yeah, but I'm saying this is not a solid. Stop. Well, after the whole bunch. Yeah, but you might. We're going to have everyone say because we're going to have catch up later. I say Kaddish and I wait, but when it's I still say Kaddish. And I wait later, then they can't shoot up the shy. I don't know what's messing. The story you said about these guys, it's happening. It's like, as soon as we get the story like this, as soon as we get the slide with the book, it's a dealer. As soon as I saw the dealer, suddenly everything is over. The man is very good to see. They told them to do a Zelmer stool in Russia, and our father and that too. And they, because of them, the ground hit on his back. So next year he went to Dava, near the school, and to Nila he went over to that where they had the barracks, the Zelmers. So he heard him, soldiers. At that time, so they had coppers. When the Tsar used to cop, they used to bring them up. So he heard the leader, one of the soldiers that my colleagues, the Chavayda, was on me. Of Esser, the time of Chavayda, yeah. Right. Of the Chavayda, of the Spuche, haben wir nicht Spuche. So, wir sollen mal beten. Der einzige soll mal beten, das ist Kaddish schon mal haben. No, I heard it. He didn't say it was recited. The story of the told the story of the Schleiger. He went there he went the next year, and he heard him say, "He's got his cash out."
That's yesterday. Usually it's a shoe that fighting, so I say kadish. There's no kadish. There's no slow sheet. No. Usually is in between the two sheets. So I was thinking, okay, let me learn the Mishnah and say it to me. After maariv, I went to somebody.
They say Kaddish every day.
If only a couple of people learn it.
People listen. They say a mission without understanding. I doubt it in the Rabbi. And I started saying, and I started explaining. Each of the minute was great.
And if you say
each of the minute was great. After killing the biggest guy. Say alone.
They have every day, let's say 5 people. Okay, but it's only 3 people saying it. It's millions, and nobody minds. That's the minute.
Yeah, actually, the greatest problem, and they say
say loud.
If you don't have 10 people start saying loud, there's no 10 people there, and then they come in.
The Kaddish is does have the kadish after the speaker mostly?
Again,
Just you learned very briefly, it's a very prominent part of the laining is the Kaddish that said there are three sources, one Shabbos, one brachos, one recited, and all seem to agree it's a key element of the rights and the dash of the Yisrael, even always were equal to challenge of Kadish Hashem, and we have to live up Kadish Hashem by saying Ashri Rabbi with Karbana, and the more we say, the more fun we should have. It's something that's very powerful. It's Kairim Zardinam of Shivim Shah, like the Zaya adds to the Gemara's Lashon. And basically, there are Kaddish, there are Bonnie, the Kiyam Oilam, that's what the world continues to exist with. It's a Shevach, Godel, V'noira, that's more than Kedusha. I don't mean to minimize Kedusha, but it's more than Kedusha. And it also has a source in Yakov said, Baruch Shem K'hoy Machuz Yel Elohai. The Kaddish Tezkabel is said at the end of Eishmai Nestra, Shachos after Kavolitzim, which is a continuation, mincha and maariv after the Shmai Nestra, after Slichot, which is a mini Shmai Nestra. And you see the shots, many Shluchot Tzibur follow this minute, step back, not after the shots, but after Kaddish Tezkabel. And they shouldn't be talking, they shouldn't walk around unnecessarily. Basically, Kaddish Tezkabel is the end of the Shmai Nestra. If there's no minyan during Chadar Sashat, someone walked out, you go all the way till after Kaddish Tezkabel. There are other three Kaddishim, Kaddish Rabbanon, Chatzi Kaddish, and Kaddish Yosef. It's not that the aveil has a problem, he has to Kaddish, and we have to be there for him. He's there for us. He's giving us an opportunity of the Raisa, of the Yeshua Rabbi, every time we say it. And that's why we should cherish every opportunity. After laining, the minig in most places of Al-Qair says it. If the oila has to say Kaddish, he could also say the oila shlishi or Aşri. Some people, always takes the Kaddish, but it's definitely at least a question of being goyim l'samesim. Why Chatzi Kaddish after laining? Either because to be mafsik is remaining and davening, or it's a Kaddish on Torah, but it's not a full Kaddish Rabbanan. Maybe because it's for the Meisei Oila. The four psukim de Zimra, in many shuls they say it even if there's no aveil, in other words, the person has no parents, or even someone that has parents would say it to say no davening. Those that don't allow a bracha that has parents to say the Kaddish before psukim de Zimra, because it has become associated with the Kaddish Yosef. The Kaddish needs 10 people learning to be able to say the Kaddish. In other words, the Kaddish after Torah, after a shir, shouldn't have 10 people. Some make as long as you have a million of people, but Mr. Bura is definitely machmir. He does throw in 2 or 3. Maybe that's also enough, but basically it should be done right with a million of learners. You could do at the end of the shir, say in front of 10 people, then you have a million that heard that, and then you could say the Kaddish. Another that came just as a saying Kaddish, you missed saying Aşri, you missed saying aleinu, or missed saying Karbonus. Since there's a million that are high in Kaddish, you can say it for them. Some say that the Maisa, after kalukienu and after Yoim, Kaddish should also be said, and that is Talim and Hagim. Avavin is an Indian, is an Issa to be Marba Kadeshim, but what has to be said should be said. After the shir, you could say the Kaddish. After learning, after a learning of Avavin, you say the Kaddish. After aleinu, someone that has no parents should say the Kaddish. And finally, the minhag seems to be that Kaddish after a siyam can be said even if a person has parents, as a Kaddish Rabbi.
That's